As the 2024 United States elections approach, one name dominates the headlines: Donald Trump. The former president, eager to serve his country once more, remains steadfast in his slogan, "Together, we will make America great again." However, this time, Trump is entangled in an unprecedented controversy. Over the past year, news outlets have been inundated with updates on Trump's indictment and trial, but no one anticipated the shocking outcome. In a historic New York trial, Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records. This unprecedented situation raises critical questions about Trump's future and his presidential candidacy. Join us in this video as we delve into the surprising developments that have unfolded, uncovering details about Trump's case that have remained out of the public eye. Donald Trump's indictment. Throughout the 234 years of United States history, no president or former president has ever been indicted. This changed in the year 2023 as Donald Trump was charged to court on a 4-count charge. On May 30th, 2024, Donald Trump made history as the first U.S. president to become a convicted felon. First time in history that a former American president has been convicted in a criminal trial of felony charges. This is a moment that's going to matter both legally and politically. Earlier in the year, Donald Trump, who was the Republican presidential candidate for the 2024 elections, faced a total of 91 indictments across 4 charges. He was accused of wide-ranging criminal conduct before, during, and after his presidency. Although pleading not guilty, in late May, Trump was found guilty on all 34 charges in a New York case related to hush money payments made during his presidential campaign. Donald Trump was found guilty of felony charges for his role in covering up a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. After a 6-week trial that disrupted his campaign to return to the White House, he was found guilty of falsifying business records related to a payoff to Stormy Daniels, a porn star who claimed to have had a sexual encounter with him. Did you have a sexual relationship with Donald Trump? Did you have any relationship with Donald Trump? Well, I think it's common. Stormy Daniels says she had a sexual relationship with Donald Trump a decade ago, then got paid to keep it a secret. Shocking, isn't it? Get ready to have your mind blown because things are just getting interesting. The payment, intended to buy Daniels' silence, helped avoid a potential sex scandal in the final weeks of the 2016 presidential campaign. Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney and fixer at the time, sent Daniels $130,000 in hush money in October 2016. While Trump was president, he reimbursed Cohen through a series of installments processed by Trump's company. A unanimous 12-person jury determined that Trump fraudulently disguised these payments as corporate legal expenses, violating New York law. That's not all, because he still has 54 charges pending in 3 other cases, of which 2 of them are federal cases and 1 in Georgia. One federal case involves accusations of taking classified documents to Mar-a-Lago after his presidency. Former President Donald Trump's classified documents probe. Newly unsealed court records show that 4 additional documents with classified markings were discovered in a closet in Trump's bedroom at Mar-a-Lago, while the other concerns his alleged interference in the certification of the 2020 election. The Georgia case, on the other hand, is based on Trump's plan to overturn the 2020 election results. Although found guilty, Trump denies all charges against him with his usual bombastic rhetoric. He claims the indictments over confidential documents are the most evil and heinous abuse of power. He went on to say that the charges are all politically motivated. Trump's trials are unfolding during an election year. Court has put the case on hold, pending an appeal from Donald Trump. Georgia election interference case against the former president is grinding to a halt. Similar to his past scandals, the indictments and verdict have not reduced the support he has been getting from among his base. In some way, it has even made people want to support him more. He easily defeated his opponents in the Republican primary, despite not participating in debates. According to a Reuters Ipsos poll, only 10% of Republicans said they were less likely to vote for Trump after his conviction. The majority stated that the verdict had no impact on their vote, and 35% indicated they were more likely to support him. Many Republican leaders still continue to back and support Trump. They claim that the indictments and the verdict are politically motivated. One Republican member and a member of the House Representative, Jim Jordan, called the classified documents case a political operation. He went on to say that if Trump wanted to store material in a box in a bathroom, he can do that. A Texas senator by the name John Cornyn criticized the verdict as a disgrace on X, urging people to rally around Trump while warning that the real verdict will be Election Day. Now that we've seen the impact that this indictment has had on Trump's career as a politician, what is next step for Trump? What is next for Donald Trump? The question on most people's mind is whether Trump could end up in jail for his role in the hush money charge. The answer to this still remains unclear. The judge presiding the case, Judge Juan M. Merchant, has now set a date for sentencing, and it would be on the 11th of July, which is just days before the Republicans are scheduled to formally nominate Trump for president. The charge of falsifying business records is a Class E felony in New York, which is the lowest level of felony charges in the state. It carries a punishment of up to 4 years in prison, but the final decision is up to the judge, and there's no guarantee Trump will receive prison time. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has not said whether prosecutors in the case will seek a prison sentence. Also, the judge may consider the political and logistical challenges of jailing a former president who is once again running for office. But this doesn't mean that there aren't other possible punishments, which could include a fine or probation, and the judge might allow Trump to delay any punishment until he has used all his appeals. Trump is also facing the possibility of more serious prison time in 3 other cases, but these cases have been delayed by appeals and other legal issues, so it is unclear if any of them will go to trial before the November election. This conviction doesn't bar Trump from continuing his campaign, nor does it stop him from becoming president. During an interview with Fox News Channel, Trump's daughter-in-law, who also serves as co-chair of the Republican National Committee, said that Trump would do virtual rallies and campaign events if he's ever sentenced to home confinement. This simply shows how undeterred Trump is towards his conviction and his sentencing. For Trump, the nation of the U.S. needs to be freed from the bad government policies of the Biden-led administration. In a statement uttered by Trump, he said that the people need to fire crooked Joe Biden, who is considered the worst president in the history of the U.S. In most of his speeches, Trump repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and blamed the partisan prosecutors for the charges he faces. In his own words during the Georgia conference, he says, "The Marxist left is once again using the same corrupt Department of Justice and the same corrupt FBI and the Attorney General and the local district attorneys to interfere. They're cheating, they're crooked, they're corrupt. These criminals cannot be rewarded, they must be defeated. You have to defeat them." Trump also criticized President Joe Biden and Mike Pence, who were found with classified documents in their offices and homes, but were not charged because they returned the documents once discovered. Nothing happened to Crooked Joe with all that. He has so many classified documents. This is a sick nest of people that needs to be cleaned out immediately. Trump has reinstated that he plans to continue running for re-election, even if convicted. He believes that his conviction is the plan of the far left to silence the voice of the people in America. Trump still has the option of appeal, although this would come after his sentencing. How does an appeal work? Well, after his sentencing, Trump would be given 30 days to file his notice of appeal. His notice of appeal has to be mailed or delivered to the prosecuting attorney. Having looked at what's next for Trump, the next big thing would be how bad will this affect Trump's political career, Donald Trump political career. As earlier said, the conviction of Trump on 34-count charges wouldn't stop him from running for office come November 2024, but it does leave a dent. Let's look at how Trump's career started and the way forward. As far back as 1987, Trump has shown his interest in politics by teasing a presidential bid. He explored being in the 2000 race with the Reform Party, but didn't go ahead with it. He also tried again in 2012 as a Republican. Trump has had strong opinions about politics and its people. For example, Trump was very vocal about the proponents of birtherism, which was a conspiracy theory questioning if Barack Obama was born in the United States. But it wasn't until June of 2015 that Trump formally announced a bid for the White House. He believed that the American dream was dead, but promised to bring it back bigger and better. His 2015 presidential campaign was filled with dominating displays on the debate stages and his controversy-riddled policies, which attracted not only adoring fans, but also fierce critics and a whole lot of media attention. His campaign slogan for 2015 was, "Make America Great Again." And with this, he was able to easily muscle past all his rivals in the Republican Party to clinch the presidential ticket. He then faced off Hillary Clinton in the polls, although his campaign was marred with a lot of controversy. But he had the last laugh as he won the election and was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States in January 2017. Trump's time as president was marred with various controversies, as he also openly clashed with foreign leaders. He went as far as withdrawing from major climate and trade agreements and banning travel from 7 Muslim-majority countries. He also issued tough immigration restrictions whilst launching a trade war with China. Because there was some controversy surrounding Trump's win as president, a special counsel for nearly 2 years probed an alleged collusion between the 2016 Trump campaign and Russia. 34 people faced criminal charges on matters which ranged from computer hacking to financial crimes. But Trump was indicted as the investigation did not establish any criminal collusion. However, Trump became the 3rd president in the history of the U.S. to be impeached, and this was over accusations that he had pressured a foreign government to dig up dirt on his Democratic rival Joe Biden. His 2020 election year was riddled with the coronavirus pandemic, as he also faced criticisms for his poor handling of the crisis. The United States led the world in the deaths and infections that arose from the pandemic. Trump was forced to take a break from campaigning after he was diagnosed with COVID-19. Although he received as much as 74 million votes, which is more than any sitting president has ever received, he lost the race to Joe Biden by more than 7 million votes. But Trump wasn't satisfied with the elections, as he alleged stolen votes and widespread electoral fraud, although these claims were knocked out in more than 60 court cases. Trump, refusing to accept the results, rallied some of his supporters to converge on Capitol, as Mr. Biden's victory was certified by Congress. The rally ended into a riot that placed lawmakers and his vice president in danger, which then led to his second impeachment. Although Trump was acquitted by the Senate, it was, however, narrowly. Although it seemed like Trump's political career was as good as dead, Trump made a comeback by announcing his plan to run for office, and it soon became clear that he was the Republican frontrunner. Joe Biden's tenure as president has been riddled with the post-pandemic economic recovery, the high inflation crisis with the problems at the borders, and foreign policy chaos. What then is the future of the United States democracy? Let's find out, because this is the best part. Future of America's democracy. The future of America is hanging in a balance because it seems like the people in Washington do not believe in the basic premise of democracy, which is the majority rules. Another pillar of democracy, which is free speech, is under attack. The Biden-led administration has been looked upon as one riddled with success and more failures. The most obvious failure of his administration is the border crisis, which can be considered as one of the worst in the history of the United States. There has been a huge inflow of illegal immigrants. It should be recalled that one of Trump's political campaign promises was the building of the Mexico Wall. But the first days in office for Biden, he not only stopped building the border wall, ending the Remain in Mexico program that kept asylum seekers out of the country until they proved their case, but he went as far as mass releasing the people caught illegally entering the country. The U.S. has let in a lot of unvetted aliens as big as the entire population of El Salvador. In 2023, Border Patrol has caught 15,267 people at the border who had criminal convictions. The border control issue isn't the only problem affecting the future of America's democracy, as there's also the issue of debt, inflation, and the high cost of living. The Biden administration has consistently claimed that the U.S. economy is the best it has ever been and that job creation is at an all-time high. However, this overlooks the fact that many jobs were lost due to the COVID-19 lockdowns that the administration supported. There's also the inflation and rising cost of living, which are hurting the savings and finances of many Americans. Biden has sought to place the blame on private companies for the price increases and highlighted shrinkflation, where products are reduced in size and quantity to hide price hikes. Biden's officials even went as far as enlisting the help of popular Sesame Street characters to promote this message, raising questions about public funding for PBS. Breakfast cereal companies and grocery stores didn't raise prices just to be mean to customers. In fact, shrinkflation helps hide a bigger problem. The Bureau of Labor Statistics claims that the prices paid by businesses and consumers alike have increased 18% on average since Biden took office in January 2021. This was said by Heritage Foundation economics expert E.J. Antony in February. This is because Congress and the Biden administration spent trillions of dollars on COVID-19 emergency aid and continued spending afterward. Additionally, much of that COVID-19 emergency aid was wasted or stolen, with billions of dollars reportedly lost. Foreign policy under Biden is also in crisis, looking at the chaotic and embarrassing exit from Afghanistan, which resulted in no accountability for those responsible. This seems to be the approach the Biden-led administration always takes. Meanwhile, the war between Russia and Ukraine is never ending, and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has called for bold decisions from partners after the aerial assault in Kharkiv. This after at least 3 people were killed and 29 injured in fresh Russian strikes on Kharkiv on Saturday, with the U.S. and its allies spending tens of billions of dollars without a resolution of the crisis till date. The Middle East, which was in a way somewhat relatively stable during the Trump administration, now seems closer to all-out war as Iran and its proxies attack Israel. The Israel-Gaza crisis is seemingly having no end in sight. Also, China has become increasingly aggressive toward the United States. Amid all this, the Biden-led administration appears to lack a coherent strategic plan, relying instead on loudly insisting on the slogan, "We are the United States of America." This approach is especially concerning, given a military that is both shrinking and demoralized. The military, like the rest of the federal bureaucracy, has not been immune to the wokeification trend. The emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, and related LGBTQ initiatives is undermining American military strength and affecting society at large. The Biden-led administration has made these priorities central for both the State Department and the military. They also claim that DEI efforts are needed to boost military recruitment and effectiveness, but in reality, the opposite seems to be true. The military now spends more time on DEI training and less on improving its combat skills. Also, recruitment rates for the all-volunteer forces have hit historic lows, especially among white recruits. All these and many more are the issues Trump has been actively criticizing. Trump holds much disdain for Biden's record. According to Trump, the indictments leveled against him were plots to stop him from contesting again. But the plans don't even affect his popularity because the polls show that it's increasing in numbers instead of diminishing. Trump went on to say that when a person gets indicted, the poll number of the person reduces, and then the person would be forced to step down from continuous political ambitions. But it's the reverse in Trump's case. One of the major people who is bent on opposing Trump's candidature is Letitia James, the New York Attorney General. Letitia James had asked that a judge void Trump's bond on a civil fraud case, and in her quest to fulfill political promises, she has left chaos in her wake. In a bid to go after Donald Trump, she has set a dangerous precedent. She not only cooked up a very bizarre case, but she even got a far-left New York leftist judge to rule in her favor. She's now threatening to seize Trump's business and properties if he doesn't come up with a $500 million bond. What's most shocking about this is the banks that New York claims were defrauded did not come out to complain because they all made money with interest and were also eager to do business with Donald Trump again. It's important to keep in mind that these businesses have their own fiduciary responsibility to do their own valuations. The Trump Organization also had their own disclaimer, which was given to all these banks. In a democracy where there is suppression of certain voices, it not only undermines the essence of representation, but it ends up leading to a system that would betray its own democratic ideals. if there's a system that calls itself democratic, where the people with power try to prevent the population from choosing certain people to lead them, then by definition, that isn't a democracy. This is something that hasn't been encountered in the years of America's history. Many consider Trump a better choice in the upcoming elections for reasons beyond the economy. For them, Trump addresses the concerns, whether real or perceived, of many white Americans in an increasingly diverse and progressive country. There is a widespread feeling of losing ground with the major key aspects of American life: home ownership, fair wages, and college education becoming harder to achieve due to inflation and other bad policies of Biden. Polls have also shown that voters are worried about crime and illegal immigration from the U.S.-Mexico border. Despite criticism from within his own party, the Democratic Party, and the media, millions of voters still support him, believing that Trump is a victim of a political witch hunt. Throughout his 4 years in office, Trump can argue that his government functioned, although sometimes chaotically, and that the worst allegations against him, like colluding with Russia, were actually never proven. He can also point the public's attention to a White House that has struggled to convince the public that Biden's job creation policies, such as investments in infrastructure, clean energy, and chip manufacturing, has improved their lives. Also, Biden is dealing with 2 foreign wars that have divided Americans. Trump is a non-interventionist who believes strongly in the America First message. This may appeal to voters who fear more U.S. involvement in Ukraine or Israel, while Biden supports a more traditional interventionist foreign policy. Trump has also lamented about the untapped potential of the vast resources America has, highlighting the paradox of abundance amid scarcity, which has been caused by the bureaucratic mismanagement of the economy by Biden's lead administration. However, Trump is not guaranteed to actually win the election, as in some ways, he's very unpopular in many parts of the country and among various demographics. If he becomes the Republican nominee, it might lead to a high turnout for Democrats. His aggressive rhetoric, including threats against political enemies, could remove moderate Republicans and independent voters, whom he needs to defeat Biden. Democrats have also effectively campaigned on defending abortion rights to win elections and will focus on this issue again in 2024. The battle line between Donald Trump and Joe Biden has been drawn. Will Trump overcome the challenges ahead of him and win the forthcoming elections? We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.